Want to learn to write perfect business emails? You're at the right place. Follow my simple steps right now and write effective emails. By the end of this video, you would be able to write killer business emails for your professional needs. My mission is to help you start speaking English confidently. If you haven't checked the other videos in the Business English series, you can check them out right now at the playlist below. And make sure you hit subscribe and the bell to get notified each time I post on this channel. Do you feel overwhelmed when you need to write a business email in English? You can give this video a like if you know what I mean, or you can even leave a comment to let me know that you've been there and you know how it feels to be stuck. Let's go through the exact steps that I follow when I need to write a business email in English, shall we? First thing I do is I write a catchy subject line. It's the topic of your message. It tells us why we need to read your email. If you want a person to open your email, it should have a clear subject. You need to modify your subject during long email threads. That helps people organize their emails. If you want your forwarded email to start a new chain, simply comment in the subject line. There are different styles of writing. I recommend you to use official or neutral style. How do I decide what style to use? Use a formal style if you are writing to your superior, if you don't know your recipient well, and if it is allowed in your organization. Tip number 3. Make sure that your email has a structure. If you want to learn a secret how to make sure you followed all the right steps, stay tuned. It will be given at the end of the video. Speaking of structure, your message should start with salutation or a greeting. If I am writing to a colleague, I would use an informal salutation such as hi or hello. If I am writing to a customer or someone from another company, for instance, I would use a more formal greeting, such as Dear Mrs. Norden or Dear Mr. Travis. A professional tip for you: be careful how you open the message. Don't use Mr., Mrs. or Miss with the first name. If you don't know how a woman prefers to be called, Miss or Mrs., use Miss. Introduction or opening line. I always start with the purpose of my message, why I'm writing. So here you tell what your message is about, but in more detail than in the subject line. You can also tell who you are if it is your first email, or you can refer to a previous meeting or a previous message. Main body is where you structure your message as clearly as possible. We'll speak about the way to structure your main message in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Main body is usually followed by a request or a call to action, CTA. The call to action is where you write exactly what you want your recipient to do in response to your email. When writing a call to action, always specify the deadline. You conclude your email with a closing line. Don't forget to sign your email. Want to write a killer email? Keep watching, because at the end of this video I am giving you my extra ninja tip.
The last part of your email is signature. It comes after your sign off and it includes full name, title and company name, phone number, and your website.
Tip 4. I use the list method to organize my email. A well-organized message looks professional and is much easier to understand. Keep your sentences short and simple. It's much easier to read and respond to an email where the text is broken down into separate points. Think of all the information you want to deliver. Introduce the list. List all the steps. Sum up the list. Tip number 5. Fill out your email fields properly. CC and BCC allow you to send an email to many people in one time. If you would like to include someone into email, CC them. CC stands for a carbon copy or a courtesy copy. Do you know why it is called a carbon copy? Write your answers in the comments below. When you CC someone, you are saying, "Hey, read this," but you don't have to respond. The person listed in the to field will see that the person listed in the CC field also received a copy. You can CC someone when you are connecting him to the recipient. BCC stands for a blind carbon copy. A person you want to send a copy to won't see that someone else also received a copy. Nobody besides him will see that he received it. For example, if you send an email to John Travers and BCC Angela Panini, John won't know that Angela received it as well. You can use BCC when sending a message to a group of addresses, such as mailing lists, to protect the privacy of the group members. Tip number 6. Always, I said always, proofread and use a spell check. There are several ways to punctuate your salutation. It's the first line where you addressed your recipient by name. In a casual salutation, use it with names followed by a comma. In a formal salutation, use a colon instead. But the first line of your main body should start with a capital letter. I am never sure where to use commas. Usually I put them where they are not supposed to be, honestly. Let's look at the most important rules. In sentences with 2 independent clauses, it means there are 2 separate sentences in one. We use commas before coordinating conjunctions. For example, yet, so, or, for, but. We use commas when independent clause starts the sentence. We use commas in lists to separate items. To make sure you don't make common mistakes, check if you know the difference between the following words. You can ask your colleague to proofread your message, and you can use a spell checker, for example, Grammarly. It's free and it works perfectly. And as I promised, here is my secret ninja tip. Use this business email checklist to make sure you did everything right. Before sending an important email, ask yourself the following questions. Did I double check the recipient's name? It takes a couple of seconds and it is very important. Did I double check my attachments? Did I check CC and BCC? Is my subject line clear and engaging? Is the salutation appropriate? Does the main body of the email have a logical structure? Is there a call to action in the closing line? Does my signature have my full name, my company name, and contact details? If you want to practice writing business emails, download my workbook, do all the exercises, and we'll check them together next week. Want more of this kind of advice? Tell me below. I'm listening and I'm watching. In the comments, share your favorite tips to writing business emails. And see you in the next video. Bye. Do you know why it is called a courtesy copy? Address. The recipient address. Is my subject line clear and